Welcome back to another week of Honey from the Word. Today's devotion is titled A Perfect Heart. It comes from 1 Kings chapter 11, verses 4 through 6. For it was so, when Solomon was old, that his wives turned his heart from after other gods, and his heart was not loyal to the Lord his God, as was the heart of his father David. For Solomon went after Ashtoreth, the goddess of the Sidonians, and after Milcom, the abomination of the Ammonites. Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord and did not fully follow the Lord, as did his father David. Psalms 101 verse 2 tells us, I will behave wisely in a perfect way. I will walk within my house with a perfect heart. You see, it is possible to walk before the Lord with a perfect heart. And this is not just an Old Testament standard, but a New Testament standard as well. Matthew 5 and verse 48, therefore, you shall be perfect, just as your Father in heaven is perfect. Perfection here does not mean a sinless, flawless heart. Man judges by outward appearances, by what he sees, but God judges the heart, the unseen motives. The basic definition of perfect is completeness, fullness, maturity. In the Hebrew and Greek, the definition includes uprightness, being without blemish, totally obedient. It means to finish what was started, a complete performance. Listen, there are times that even I fail, times when I mess up big time. But instead of stopping, I keep going. I know my heart. I know it is better to go on than to stop. My heart reaches out and cries to God and reaches down, and He reaches down and gives me strength to go on. There are three things about a perfect heart that I want us to look at in this devotion. First of all, a perfect heart is searchable. The perfect heart cries out with David, search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me and know my thoughts, and see if there be any wicked way in me. Psalms 139, verses 23 and 24. The Hebrew meaning of search is I penetrate. I examine deeply. It means to investigate. It carries the idea of a diligent probing, to examine intimately, thoroughly, to seek out. David welcomed God to come in and search out his heart. He wanted nothing hid. He wanted his heart opened up to investigation by God. The perfect heart wants the Holy Spirit to come and search out the depths of the innermost man, to shine into all the hidden parts, to investigate and to dig out and expose all that is unlike Christ. We need to pray this prayer of John Wesley. Is there a thing beneath the sun that strives with thee my heart to share? Ah, tear it thence and reign alone, the Lord of every motion there. One of Wesley's hymns says, purge me from every sinful blot. My idols all be cast aside. Cleanse me from every evil thought, from all the filth of self and pride. The hatred of the carnal mind out of my flesh at once removed. Give me a tender heart, resigned and pure, and full of faith and love. Second thing I want us to look at is that a perfect heart is a trusting heart. Over and over, David testified, in the Lord I put my trust. Psalms 11 and 1. In you I trust, O my God. Psalms 25 and verse 2. The Hebrew root word for trust suggests to fling oneself off a precipice. That is, to be like a child who hears the Father say, jump, and who trustingly obeys, throwing himself off the edge and into his Father's arms. I'm afraid that we have come to the point where we trust more in man than we do God. There's coming a day, not too far away, when we will have to trust God or give in to the pressures of the world. It will be trust God or compromise. It seems that the only time we want to trust God is in the time of great crises in our lives. And the rest of the time, we turn to man and convenience rather than to God. Maybe the reason we go through difficult times is to knock all the props from under us to see all that is left is to trust in God. We must get back to having a heart that trusts in God. And the last thing I want us to look at is a perfect heart is a broken heart. David said, "The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Psalms 34 and verse 18. Brokenness has to do with walls, broken down, crumbling, rained walls. In Psalms 51 and 17 and 18, God associated the walls of Jerusalem with broken-heartedness. See, many of us have built up walls of resistance against the Lord. It may be the wall of stubbornness. I am set in my ways and I'm just not going to change. It may be the wall of tradition. But Lord, this is the way we have always done it. So when the Lord puts it in our heart or someone else's heart to do it different, we won't let it happen. Some may have a wall of resistance. We don't want to get too close to the Lord, then we'll have to change, give some things up. Some have built up walls of disobedience. These and other walls must come down. They must crumble if our heart is to be perfect. Brokenness is the total shattering of all human strength and ability. Brokenness is opening up our heart and surrendering it totally to God. It is saying, whatever your pleasure, whatever your desire, whatever your will, that's what I want, Lord. I surrender everything over to you. I'm nothing without you. So a perfect heart, well, a perfect heart is searchable. A perfect heart is trusting heart. And a perfect heart is a broken heart. May the Lord bless you in everything that you do this week.